welcome. Today we are going to be designing a tumbler with this piece of scrapbook paper that I got from Dollar General. All right, here are the things. Obviously my scrapbook paper, rose gold glitter from StarCraft, Fancy from Zindy Studios, and we're going to be using the Tack It method. Oh, and of course, our tumbler. Let's get into it. All right, with the Tack It method, I have my Tack It over and over in a cup mixed with some water because I prefer it to be a little bit runny rather than full strength. In my opinion, it can get a little bit tough in spreading it on the tumbler if it's full strength. So I like to water it down. Once again, that's just personal preference. It doesn't mean that it's not going to work, but hey, you do you. I like to spread this as thin as possible. I don't like any of those bumps because if you get bumps, guess what? They're going to show up with your glitter. So you got to get this as smooth as possible. All right, we got it covered. Now, let's start adding that glitter, okay? I'm trying something a little bit different here. I am putting the glitter on in streaks, seeing if it works. You're never going to discover anything if you don't try new things. So here I am just sort of putting little streaks, pops of color of gold in there. I'm going to cover the entire tumbler in these gold lines. And then I'm going to cover the entire thing with pink. And we're going to see what it looks like. Again, I've never done this before. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we'll see. All right, so here comes the pink. I am going to cover that entire thing with pink. And once it gets covered, all we have to do is rub the glitter and it will lay flat on the tumbler. You got to make sure that you cover every area. All right, now the magic happens. You just start rubbing. And look at that. That glitter is laying down completely flat. And here we are. I sped it up because you don't need to see me rub down this entire tumbler. You just don't need to see that in real time. But it has turned the tumbler from just being this stainless steel, gray, boring thing into a rose gold metallic tumbler. And if you look close, you're going to see some of those gold. Yep, see? There's a gold streak. And there's another one. So it did work. All right, now for the design. Here is my sheet of paper. I've got 4 different sizes of circle shape cutters. I think it's a 3/4 inch, a 1 inch, a 2 inch, and I forget the other one. But now I'm just going to cut random circles out of this paper. There we go, random circles all over the place. Now time to design the actual tumbler. All right, there's my tumbler with 1 coat of epoxy on it, because had I tried to Mod Podge these circles or put vinyl on there, it would have pulled my glitter off. For this design, I have chosen varying circles cut in gold vinyl. Here's my main quote that I'm going to put on there. And so I'm going to just start randomly putting these on. At this point, I don't really have a specified design in my head. I'm just going to randomly put them on there, and we're going to see what it looks like. I did know when I saw the paper that I was going to use circles. But in my head, I still don't have a clear, exact picture of what this is going to look like. So, sometimes you just sit back and you let the process speak to you. Sometimes you just let the tumbler talk to you. That's what you do. As you can see, there's the gold on here. I am going to speed this up because you don't need to see the whole thing. I'm going to start off by putting about 3 or 4 or so circles on there in the vinyl. And then I'm going to start Mod Podging. Because once again, good design has layers. Okay, so now I'm going to start Mod Podging. But you want a bottom layer, a top layer, you want a couple of mid layers if you can get them in there. That's good design, okay? Because what it creates is a thing called depth. So here we are, we're going to start Mod Podging. Now, when you are Mod Podging, you are going to start by obviously covering the entire bottom with your Mod Podge. You want to get it really good and covered, okay? As thick of a covering as you can possibly get, okay? We don't want any air pockets underneath there. We don't want any spaces that are not covered. So now I'm going to figure out exactly where I want it. I'm going to put it on the tumbler. And then I'm going to smooth it out. Once again, I don't want any air pockets. I want to make sure that this piece of paper is completely flat to my tumbler. Now, could I do this on certain parts of a modern curve tumbler? No, I couldn't, because there are parts where you would not be able to completely flatten it out. Same as vinyl. Now I am covering that piece of scrapbook paper with more Mod Podge. Well, why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that because I need to make sure that it is completely secured from the epoxy getting on it. Because if any epoxy gets underneath that Mod Podge, it's going to cause a dark spot on the paper. So now I'm going to continue that process with the remaining dots. Put Mod Podge on the bottom, spread it out, make sure there's no air bubbles, and then put Mod Podge on top. And there we have the tumbler. Okay, now that that is dry, I'm going to put my final layer of vinyl on the cup. I've got all of these different circles that I'm going to put on the Mod Podge, and just in random places. But once again, wanting to create depth. Okay, we want to create that depth and those layers. It just makes for a more pleasing design to the eye, okay? And just keep going around and around until you feel that you have done an adequate job. And yes, I am keeping those extra circles. I don't like wasting vinyl, okay? You never know when you're going to need a gold circle. All the circles are on it. I've even done the bottom. And now the grand finale. Here's what she looks like with 2 more coats of epoxy. I think it turned out pretty well. You can see it doesn't look like paper. Look at the bottom. I love the bottom. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. You guys have a blessed day.